Hello and good afternoon. My name is Alejandro Ortiz and today I will be showcasing the cell cycle. I'm going to be showcasing what it goes through and every single step of it, including the G1 phase, the S phase, the G2 phase, and the mitosis phases. Also, ending at the cytokinesis phase. Looking at the first picture in the screen, we can observe that the cell is starting to produce the G1 those organelles and molecules that are useful to the cell division. But now, if you look at the second shot at the screen, we see it created even more and organelles. Now, looking at the third shot at the screen, we saw it created even more. That I will be explaining later on in this project are the periods it can and where growth and activity are extremely big. As you can observe the picture that is on the screen, the cell starts in one shape. But now, when we see the second picture, we can easily deduct by its size that it grew. If we take now a look at the third picture, we can see it grew even more. This is a great example of the G1 phase. Now we will be talking about the S phase, which is followed directly up by the G1 phase. The S stands for synthesis. During the period in which this happens, new DNA is synthesized, and chromosomes are replicated. When this process is done, the cell has twice as much amount of DNA than it had at the first time. If we look at the picture of the screen, we see that the chromosomes were not replicated.
In this stage.
But when we look directly at the second picture, we see that the chromosomes replicated and that we now have twice as much DNA since last time. After the replication is done, the cell enters a stage called the G2 phase, in where the cell starts to produce many organelles and molecules that will be useful to make the cell division happen. Looking at the first picture in the screen, we can observe that the cell is starting to produce those organelles and molecules that are useful to the cell division. But now, if we look at the second shot at the screen, we see it created even more. Now, looking at the third shot at the screen, we saw it created even more. This means the cell keeps creating until it can go through the next process.
Now, we will be discussing the mitosis phase. The first phase of the mitosis phase is prophase. In this phase, the chromatin condenses into chromosomes, and the centrols start neatly to separate, and spindles start being formed. The nuclear envelope also does a very important part in this stage. It breaks down. The second phase of the mitosis phase is the metaphase. After the chromatin is condensed and is formed into chromosomes, the chromosomes start to line up in the middle of the cells and are connected to spindle fibers and its centromere. As we can neatly observe, the chromosomes are slowly going towards their way through aligning themselves in the middle of the cell. The third phase of the mitotic phase is the anaphase. After the chromosomes were lined up in the anaphase, they start to move apart. Actually, the sister chromatids separate into individual chromosomes and start moving apart from each other. As we can observe, they are moving apart from each other, as you can see in the picture that is on the screen. The third phase of the mitotic phase is the anaphase. After the chromosomes were lined up in the anaphase, they start to move apart. Actually, the sister chromatids separate into individual chromosomes and start moving apart from each other. As we can observe, they are moving apart from each other, as you can see in the picture that is on the screen. In the last part of this process, we have the cytokinesis phase. During this phase, the cytoplasm cuts in half, and each daughter cell has an identical set of the duplicated chromosomes, and this is where the cell cycle restarts and does everything again. So the cell has divided into two.